Basically, we're in the last days. The Bible explicitly says so much word over and over and over again. So, I saw that one Russian ticket apparently it's free, is what they're saying. So I think it's one of the guys working with Russia seems sort of flipped or something to that effect. So he's moved into one of the other cities in Ukraine, but being moved over. What that's going to do, I don't know whether they're going to have to combat the guy, try and assassinate who knows what, and then, what's got into him, it remains to be seen. Because I would assume there'll be outside influence, because otherwise, why do these things? But, read this. Matthew 24:6, it says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." So that's part of wars and rumors of wars. We have been in the midst of the war between Ukraine and Russia, and then the whole time that's been happening, it's been non-stop rumors of wars. Then Belarus, talking about getting involved. The situation with China and Taiwan, that's basically been simmering in the background. Then as well, it's like North Korea, they're doing their missile tests. And then you had one a few weeks back where they shot the missile, and it was and Japan was getting warnings because they basically shot in the direction of Japan. And hey, all these things is mainly in the area of simmering, but then also in the Middle East. Because the Middle East is one of those where it's not really cooled down to any significant degree. We've always had mainly Iran and what's it called, let's say is those two are like the key ones. Oh, you had with the with what you call it, the Saudis. What you call it? The Saudis. What you call it? They were. I believe I can't remember. They lowered up the price of. I think they upped the price of their oil. They did it a few months back, and then they were going to do it again. They were basically trying to have an impact on international prices, but it didn't seem to work out. The second time they did it, so now they kind of in talks with China, I believe. So these things are developing, and you're going to see how it all comes to fruition. Because when it comes down to it, it's really between Babylon, the US and its allies, and then Russia and their allies. Those are the two bases, the conflict between. Those are the two bases where the conflict between, and we're going to see it ratchet up. Look at this. So, Joel 3 and 11 says, "Assemble yourselves and come, O ye heathen, gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Most High. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, or Yahweh Shaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get down, for the press is full. The fat overflows, for their wickedness is great. So yeah, we've got building up to the judgment of what? Of all the heathen. You know, being put in a pot, being put in one area, and then having that full-scale conflict kick off. And this is something that is, you know, is spoken about. It's also being alluded to in the news, and it's something that's been heavily represented in fiction as well. In movies, they always talk about it. It's something that's been mentioned for years, decades even, where it's like that full-scale nuclear conflict. Everyone's waiting for it. That big next war, that global war, since the end of World War II, that's been something people have been antsy about. Because why? They're seeing like now that there's nukes, they know, they always say, oh, it's what mutually assured destruction. It basically happen where everything as you know it comes to an end. And that's what gets people on edge. But hey, these things are spoken of in prophecy. And in prophecy, hey, it's gonna pop off, man, whether you like it or not. Let's say multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord Yahweh is the day of the Lord is now. Because that's part of the day of the Lord, that destruction. These heathen and America getting destroyed. Because as it stands now is the time where what? The heathen are removed. They've basically got their thrones, they're allied with the beast. And then what's it give them? They've got certain certain benefits from that deal, and the biggest part is what? Is keeping Jake in that destroyed state, man. That's a big part. I'll read this. You ready? Revelation 11:8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great sea, which spiritually is Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another, because these two prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth. Yeah. Spoil for what the heathen did. When Jake was put in that destroyed state, when they're put in that hardcore bondage, these heathen will celebrate. Because why? Because they know going back historically, when Jake had the rule on them, they kept them underfoot. But now they've got a chance to recompense that. They took it, man. And they took it far beyond where they needed to go. But then again, it's a thing where you need to keep in mind. You're dealing with you're dealing with the apple of the Most High's eye. If you're gonna lay your hands on that, then that comes with a judgment accordingly. So Revelation 17 and 12, and it says what? And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind that shall give their power and strength unto the beast. See, these the allies, basically the EU and NATO, these guys grouping together to put their strength underneath America. Because after World War II, basically America took the dominant position and has held it since. But then what? All these other nations, they basically united, and then they were in support of that system. It says what? That's why says what they have one mind, and they shall give their power and strength unto peace. So it says, these shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are chosen and faithful. And he said unto them, the waters that thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And nations and tongues, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Yeah. So these things, these allies, former allies, they're going to turn off and use their fire and nuclear armaments against America. That's a key prophecy of what's going to go down in the last days, man. America getting burned with fire. That needs to happen before the kingdom of heaven. For the Most High, verse 17, for the Most High put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, unto the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. So yeah, they've basically been put underneath America in the spirit. They're just going to wander after it and follow after it until what? The time of the end. That's why you see it's basically been a slow decay of those relationships with America. Well, really, how America's view in the world has shifted. You go back to like the 70s, the 60s, they were far more prominent. It's really from like Watergate, from the Vietnam War, Desert Storm, these various wars happened where people realized, damn, these guys are just going around there making money. Like, these guys ain't really about it. There's no justice to be found in what they're doing. The more recent one, for the current generation, is really the Iraq War. That really showed. That's where you're getting like black war and whatnot. These guys found out they're going around raping up men, women, and children, going around doing all kinds of madness whilst they're out there, and then weren't really held to account until a lot of that stuff got leaked. And then as well afterwards, you had what? The whistleblowers. The era of the whistleblower, where these guys were coming out exposing all kinds of things. That whole image basically got decayed to where now what? People don't really regard America as they once did. They look at it like, yo, it's messed up, man. People hear about, people getting jacked up by cops. People hear about all kinds of mess going down. And then it's like, America's not looked at or regarded anywhere near how it was. The thing is, these things could have been going down for longer, but now it's a matter of when. Psalm 3:1, Song of Psalm. Sorry. Or song of Asaph. Keep not thou silence, O power, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. So head. Yes, only these evil nations that are come against the heavenly Father, so hate the heavenly Father. Right, they're outright against him, right, because they worship evilistic gods that are non-existent. It says in the word, gods of the idols, gods of the heathen are idols, right? So they have no power, but he holds me, prevent people, right? To the point where they're in contention with the Most High power. We're coming out here in the power of Yahweh, Hashem, Shai, Hashem, Muslim come up, what they'll say is they'll say something like, yeah, we believe in the same God you. The moment we abruptly let them know you do not believe the same power we believe, there's going to be some form of issue. Alright? Because ultimately what they really want us to be inside of them and ultimately come up under their belief. They're going to, throw a curveball and say, yeah, I'm a Christian, Christian as well. But then they're going to slander the Lord, the Heavenly Father's only begotten, by saying he was a prophet, he had a message. They don't even know what the reason why he was made, right? The reason why he came to existence, or for what reason. To basically say the truth of Israel, right? It tells you that in Matthew, the first chapter, that he was basically born to deliver the nation of Israel from their sins and their captivity, basically. So only saying something like, we believe the same thing. Muslim too is blasphemous, right? And the same with Christianity. We had a couple of Christians, Parisians, that were Christians come out here and debate with us. And what were their point of contention was? It was the fact that they said, we believe in you. Maybe we don't believe in following the things we believe. Then it was a problem. They were looking at us like five heads pretty. But in reality, this is the point. They're all against their father and power. Verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against our people, sold against our hidden ones. Yeah, and only something that's trickled down from powers of be. Down with the Rothschild, Rockefeller, DuPont, Gates. They basically formulated an ideology presented to the people and have taken hold of it. And they basically follow through with it without them really even knowing. Because with the TV, media, everything in general, it's basically an ideology that's being pumped into the minds of the people. Unbeknownst to them. They don't really understand what they're taking in, nor do they question it. So now when you present something, as I told you, the Heavenly Father was sending apostles last. When the apostles came last now, what's happening? They're basically getting their knickers in a twist. Why? Because they feel like, listen, this doesn't go with what we believe. Alright? But it's normally because the sign has been given a doctrine, the image of the beast. Alright? Verse 4. And so come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. And it isn't. Alright, Yasha Allah, the people that we are, the sons of Israel, is even to that point. You have the name Israel, you have the state of Israel. Right? But you don't actually have the people. Right? Because when you ask about the people of Israel, what would they say? Oh, the Jews. Yeah, but they're one tribe of 12. Right? So where's the other tribes? They don't even choose. They'll say, yeah, they have the name Benjamin, they have the name Levi or Levi, but where are those people? Right? That's because those people are no longer remembered. Right? Verse 5. So they have the tools together with 1% that they are confederate against them. And only this is what all this conspiracy theories and everything like that goes back to what? Them all coming together for the sake of what? Pushing Israel out of existence, maintaining their foot on our next case. Right? If they now made it be known, they basically, refer to it. Right? With his name escapes right now, Ammonite. Right? The made him account. He basically said it as he is. He said, look, these are people that came out the Chaldees, gave the rundown of history. He said, look, they have a God that they have faith in. There's nothing that can stop them. Right? They believe in their power. About believing them right now. If there's a pool of sin in them, then we can have one up with them. They're basically proliferating that ideology. They're perpetuating it as kings. That's why we took the record. Even now, we have these R&B, right? When you think of the soul of the black people, that made waves in pop culture, these have R&B roots, right? Even before R&B, early 2000s, that's the last hurrah of R&B. when you go back to the 80s, you had a lot of musicians, someone like, what's this guy, man, Rick James. They were in their high school bands. I forget the name, but you know, the high school marching band. They were in a high school marching band. They might have played, you know, a couple instruments. Then they made, or a lot of them were in the church. They started making secular music. There was actually a route to the music industry. There was like you had to earn your stripes, so to speak. All right, and then really as well. I said it with they were in the church. That's where we started. They were singing spiritual music. All right, but then what's happening now? They've seen that there's a lot of popularity in the music that comes from, you know, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, explicitly Judah. All right, and they basically use this now. They've flipped it on the head, and they say they want to talk about the dead gods. You know, they want to talk about everything that. So it's perpetuating black culture, right? And that's because it's further pushing, you know, Jake to be in a mindset of being docile, right? That's what it is, right? Yeah. Matthew, well. Matthew 7. Matthew 7 and 13. Enter the leaders to destruction, but many there be which go in thereat. Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. It is basically a narrow path when it comes to righteousness, and this is the thing that of why, you know, you can't just like buddy up with a Muslim or buddy up with a Christian, because what we're dealing with is something very particular. There's a strict set of things you need to keep to. And if you're not keeping to it, then hey, we're not dealing with the same. We're not dealing with the same power. We're not worshiping the same power. And that's really what where the gap lies, because that's why. Like you said, like Islam don't try and say, oh yeah, you know, it's like, yeah, you build Christianity, and then after that, that's what we've got. We've got what comes next. But that's all. When they are just as a Christians, they have a failure to understand the scriptures. And one of the key things is who is for, because when you deal with both Islam and Christianity, they're both universal. Religion, which is a big part of why it was pushed out. With Islam, who's from Muhammad's empire, to, you know, bring everyone. It's the same spirit of what's his name, Antiochus, of basically bringing everyone, having everyone worship one thing. That was the same thing with the Council of Nicaea. They basically rolled in a bunch of different worship with the scriptures, to then make it where it's like, okay, now everyone's got what they want. You know, you get Easter, instead of Ishtar, you know, branches. You still have the Easter eggs, the Easter bunny cakes and whatnot. But now it's, you know, it's under Christianity. But hey, it's in reality, what is it? It's narrow. Because and the funny thing is, you go through the different prophets, what do you find time and again? There's not times where it's like, yo, everyone, there's very few times where the majority of Israel is down. About to make a fatal mistake. They changed it up.
I knew that came in, I swear, I said,
yeah,
know what they did.
Yeah.
Whatever it may have been, the thing, the junction over there. But they know that, okay, we do that, capture a couple people out to make a boatload of money. Because they won't be up on what's going on.
I can't go that fast.
It's a automatic system as well. Send you the picture, then 2 weeks later you get the fine. You don't even remember what the fuck happened. Yeah. But now it's narrow, it's very particular. And that's why even the ancient times, there'll be times where the majority of Jacob's prophets are out. And then you might just have a few prophets that are basically out there prophesying, and all Israel's coming against it. Never mind, the heathen and whatnot as well.
Jeremiah 28 and 8. The prophets have been before me and before the old, prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of pestilence. When you got religions that, the major religions that are regarded as, roots to the Heavenly Father upon the earth, the Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and then you can go into anything outside of that. What you find is common base with all of them is prosperity gospel. They speak about prospering upon the earth, and getting a loot, getting your box up, getting your pizza, getting all the bags in. But the reality of the situation is that the Heavenly Father didn't send prophets or his speakers for that point. Right? Even when he sent forth pastors, their job, when pastor goes back to, I don't even want to butcher it right now, but the main point of what I'm saying is the prophets were ordained to be, watchmen, to make warning for the people to get right before the Heavenly Father. Right? That was their specific job. They were, and the powers of be, they were speaking in opposition to everything they presented. So if you had a prophet come from there, say you had let's take it like this, you had Isaiah or Ezekiel, or you had Daniel, all the different men in the Bible. If they come back today, what do you think they'll be talking about? Do you think they'll be saying, yes, this world that we live in is, the best place ever, we should settle down and relax? No, if you read the Bible, what were they doing? They'll basically say, look, this is a wicked place, it's going to be condemned. And it's funny because all these people up in the churches, they swear by these books, but in reality, the situation, these individuals would not be involved in the things they're doing. So it really shows you the book has just been utilized as a token to basically say, look, we uphold this book, and then they ain't even gonna open it. They could even open it and just butcher one scripture, take it out and say a little bit of this. Because they take it out of context, it runs. Right? People will follow up. But in reality, that's not what the Bible actually says. It's actually speaking against the kingdoms that be, against the powers of be. Right? Where you go?
Ezra 4 and Ezra 4 and 2. Then they came to Zerubbabel and to the chief of the fathers and said unto them, let us build with you, for we seek your power as ye do, and we do sacrifice unto him since the days of Esarhaddon, king of Ashur, which brought us up hither.
Yeah, going back to the book of 2 Kings 17, right, when you had the northern kingdom taken out of the king, their place, alright, and basically put up into the Assyrian kingdom, alright, the Assyrian empire. Not only, when it came to its full, they basically decided, it tells you in the book of 2 Ezra 13, I believe it is, that they sought together to basically go to another land, that another land being America, or Ashtoreth, which basically, translates to another land. And they basically said, we're going to, worship the Heavenly Father and keep the commandments over there. But then they wind up getting into more obscenities over there in the Americas, man. Like the Mayans, for example. They started doing human sacrifice, and all kinds of wickedness and all that. But then that also goes back to, the witch doctors and all that type of stuff. What took them out of power was the fact that they basically made men of lower esteem. Basically, anyone outside of the tribe of Levi or the genealogy of Aaron to basically take up, work with the priesthood, which was not their job. They weren't allowed to do that. All right, but that's why now you have these different forms of Abbas organizations, priesthood, various nations, right? But the point here is that
Yes, since the days of the Sodom, king of Ashur, which brought us up hither, but Zerubbabel and Jeshua and the rest of the chief of the fathers of Israel said unto them, Ye have nothing to do with us to build an house unto our power, but we ourselves together will build unto Yahweh, power of Israel, as King Cyrus, the king of Persia, have commanded us. Then, well, yeah, with they're basically like, hey, they specified what the power of Israel, because they were saying like, yo, we're gonna deal with our power, like, with just us, like y'all ain't involved, and that's been how it's been from the jump. They even been trying to get in the mix, and then it goes into it further within the New Testament, because then you get to the Gentiles as well. You get to the Israelite foreigners, and that's where the complexity comes in, because you had those that would have been in the land, they would have been in the same spirit, not knowing, yo, those are your brothers. They're those that knew they were of Israel, they were Israelite stock, and there's those that didn't know. But regardless, there was a place for them going forward, because hey, there was going to be the full falling away. All of Israel was basically going to lose the knowledge of who they were and that connection. They're all going to be off. But then what? It's mercy would be had, man.
And that's kind of the point of what I'm going to say as well. Zerubbabel, his name in the last one for Dash. Last one means tongue, for Dash means holy. Alright, basically what? Zarai, Babal. Alright, Zarai, Zar, Ra, I. Basically translates to what? Seed was sown, I'd say sown for the sake of the grammar, you know, the English grammar. And Babal basically is confusion, land confusion. Why? They came out of Babylon, right? The old Babylon, you know, that Daniel was basically president, all right? He was basically sown in that land and came back into the land. But his attitude being sown among the Babylonians was that, look, this is a power, right? This is for us to get together, get right for our power, and worship with righteousness, all right? So that shows you an attitude. That we were so, you know, right this time as well. We have an attitude, look, you know, Israel against everyone, right? Yeah, I know.
So much. I think it's like a green ground.
Yeah. Even my big things I got like the overflow of by my windows. Like the songs, they that area like deck. Bro, songs. Yeah, it's like wine. Yeah. But it's nice. But it keeps the sun hey, always be nice. The insects get like when the sunlight beaming in your room. No sunlight, you know what I mean? It's a nice and cool. But it has that kind of moisture in the air. But I saw a video, funny enough, I was thinking about right before. It says charcoal is good for damp. Right? The damp environment has charcoal. Basically, it sucks all the moisture out. That's right. Yeah. Probably jokes on the charcoal. But I forgot someone said it was like a certain kind of charcoal. I'll put it in the comments. Go back and look because I realised my place kind of has that moisture. Yeah, so and even where I'm positioned in the place, the water ends up my noticeable thing. So my I know, bro. Dudes are smart. What the fuck? Don't smell it. You're like, how the fuck do you concentrate? This shit is mind
It's real fucking headache. It makes you feel it's like, bro, it's like when you're cycling, when you breathe in and like,
Yeah, I know you
feel
do,
this
yeah.
breath. But you'll be like, long, deep breaths and
Ario.
no, the guy that you run, like, lungs. Oh,
Avio, I can't remember. Feel the dying.
Ezra 4 and 4. Then the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Judah, people of Judah, and troubled them in building. So yeah, what was after all that funk about we'll build with you, then they'll just say, fuck John. And they started weakening things. They came against it. Because why? That's really how it comes down to. That relationship to heathen, it's been contentious from day. When you deal with Israel getting into the land, what was said about the residents, the Canaanites in the land. These guys were what? They were there to weaken the hand. They were there to be a thorn in your side. If you stay on the path dealing with the laws, then what? Then even come against it, man. And that's been really the same template. That's why you get to Revelation. Then what? The heathen are rejoicing. Because that's how it's been. Israel's really been on their own. They've basically been they were served with a particular office, man. They were the ones that are essentially going to be representation of the Most High on the earth.
Zion.
Yeah, monument.
Zion. Yeah. Monument on earth. You look at that nation and say, that's positive. That's why I told you that in the book of Lamentations, that basically the Lord said what he said. He said that, look, these people, they're basically they were the princess of promises. There was many different names that were called the children of Israel. And it seems today, but it's seen in a bastardized form. That's why you see it in spiritual entertainment. It's a right man. It's a true man. It's the actual right man you meant to see the glory of the Heavenly Father in judgment. Right? In the way that we actually conduct ourselves upon the earth. That is the greatest showing of the Heavenly Father's power. But guess what? That's the last thing that our people doing as a whole. Really, that's why now there's a little sanctuary, right? A little sanctified ones that basically show that the behaviors of the Heavenly Father, right? Because, hey, someone might come up and be like, oh, so look, you guys keep all the laws of the Bible, so you don't eat pork, we don't eat pork, we don't eat all pork feeders. To you, it's an amazing feat, but to us, it's just, there wouldn't be no other way.
We'll go to the mixed fabric.
Mixed fabric, we don't make our own clothes. What can we do? Most we can do is attempt to our best of our ability to do things like. But the same, yeah,
it's like
but we ain't even. Hey, when we deal with fashion, it's all made with Esau in mind. So, like for example, like one thing I've had the whole of my life that's a fucking headache is buying fucking jeans, man. Any form of trousers. You naturally have a Jacob step where man's thighs, man's waist is small and man's thighs are very, very strong basically. So fine, you go you got a 34 waist, your legs can't get it. You go buy like a 36, 38, and then go to the drag dealers or whoever and get, modified. And then you got chafing as well, so your jeans don't last but too long. Whatever the hole is, because it doesn't made so you might. But then in that sense you have to make some compromise.
for that. Because you might find something 100% hard, but then it doesn't fit. You know what I mean?
Or it's too expensive. But I'm like, that's a reality. When you're working, you got to work and live. That's why it's like, how you gonna, like, man can't be out here making their own clothes. That's just not realistically viable. Because if you're gonna be like, okay, X amount of boxes, X amount of socks, t-shirts, jacket, jumper, like, how you even gonna have time to work, to live? You know, you have to do things for your family. You have to do errands throughout the week. You got to deal with the work. Like, how you gonna balance all that? And then, but that's it. And the thing is we're under grace. But that obviously doesn't mean we just are going out willy nilly. But then it's hey, remember, as long as we stay on the path, then we'll be covered in the end. Because even with other laws, then mistakes can happen.
Deuteronomy 28:48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, Lord Yahweh which the Lord Yahweh shall send against thee in want, in hunger and thirst, in want of all things.
Yeah.
So Deuteronomy 28. And 48, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord Yahweh shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, until he have destroyed thee. Yeah, so be in want of all things. Basically, you're going to be reliant upon Esau. You're going to have to go to him for everything. Because that's what, even for the scripture. It says what? My enemy is printed a book. But with, as far as being on this side, in this realm now, hey, that's what we got to deal with. Because we're basically limited as far as what we can do now. Now it's not like when we're back in ancient Israel. Now is the time where we're basically in the sense like 2,000 years ago in Rome. Yahushua said, "What? Render what Caesar's unto Caesar." Because we're within a system where certain things we're just gonna have to deal with. That's a good example of the Passover. Having the Passover lamb or kid. That's something that there might be a few brothers where they might have their own farm, but then you would have to have, let's say, a lamb without blemish or a kid without blemish. You might even, I don't even know about how much of a what you call it when they of like sheep farm, how viable it is to get that. The most we can do is emulate it to the best of our ability. Because as far as for now we're in a time where it's a shadow of things to come. I'll read this, Judges. So Judges 5 and 11, they that are delivered from the noise of the archers and the places they that are delivered from the noise of the archers in the places of drawing water, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord Yahweh, even the righteous acts towards the inhabitants of his villages in Israel. Then shall the people of the Lord Yahweh go down to the gates Yeah, so they'll what? Rehearse the righteous acts. Because hey, that's all we can do as far as for now. Now we're in that rehearsal stage where we're basically trying to follow the laws as best we can and basically follow the instructions we've been given. But these are things that are going to be perfected when we get the kingdom. Because as far as it's like the temple, where there's a physical temple, but then there's going to be no need for the physical temple in the kingdom of heaven. Because why? It's going to be perfected. We'll basically be on a level where we'll be following the Lord perfectly, we'll have the new bodies, and then we'll be able to deal directly. We don't need the intercessor. Isaiah 47 and 2 says what? Take the millstones and grind meal, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. So now we're in a time where a lot of things are being revealed. When you go back to like the 30s and 40s, there was very limited streams by which people get information about what's going on in the world. Most people couldn't, no one had iPhones, no one had internet, no one had even television to actually see images of what's going on in different places around the world. You're basically limited to like newspapers or radio, limited forms. Then over time you had what? Television come in, and then TV you could see more. Then afterwards what? You had, like in the more recent times, you had the internet, where now you can actually see if a conflict's happening, you can see in real time. Before the news, in a lot of you go on like Twitter, you go online. Twitter really is a spot where when things go down, say an event happens and saying like, oh, there's a coup in this country, that happens, you have people on the floor, people on the ground, taking videos, whatever, posting online, you'll see a bunch of newspapers underneath saying like, hey, could we use your video? We'll pay you X, can we pay you for this video and then use it in our reporting? Because why? Because you've got random people with a smartphone and now giving you cutting edge information. But with that, then it becomes clearer to kind of become disillusioned from lies that are basically being pushed around the world. It becomes more difficult to keep a consistent agenda. Because why? Because you're going to have a lot of things where you'll just be able to go out and see, oh, these guys are talking smack. And that's resulted in now where you've had a lot of different historically and more recently things that the government's been getting up to being exposed, man. Daniel 12. Daniel 12 and Daniel 12 and 4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Yeah, in the time of the end, what? Many will run back to and fro, and knowledge will be increased. Basically, awareness, people are going to be more clued into what's going on. That's funny, the big thing that highlights that is the corrupt one, man. That MOTV. When you talk to, random people off the street, You ask them where it is. You go back even 10 years, people weren't talking about it as much as they are in this current time. That's something that with, especially after the pandemic, with what happened after the pandemic, people are more aware of, people pushing these things forward. So you say like, yo, what do you think it is? They'll tell you, oh, it's that microchip, that implantable chip. Because why? Now it's basically being made more aware, because what we're getting into the end times as well. It says what? Revelation 12:12 says, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth he hath but a short time. Yeah, the devil's coming down with great wrath, because he knows he has a short time. Time short. It's basically the last prophecy at the Lord. So as far as for those in power, those trying to bring their plans to fruition, they're trying to make these things happen as swiftly as they can. But then again, it's a matter of dealing with prophecy. It really all revolves around the elect. Because we're dealing with what? The elect being woken up. And then after that, it's all going to be about basically the elect getting saved, right? Because you're going to have what that out of temptation, that great tribulation. But then what? You're going to have some of those of the elect where they might be put to death. But then you'll still have those that are basically going to be brought through the fire. They're going to endure. They're going to hold fast. They're going to stay strong. And then what? Then it's all basically getting ready to wrap up. Second Peter 3:7, it says, but the heavens and earth which are now by the same word are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. The Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is long suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. Yeah, what we're dealing with is basically how this current realm is going to go out in fire. That's what we brought out earlier, dealing with the missiles. We're going to have those that were once allied with the US, with America, with Babylon the Great. They're going to turn on us and let's say, hey, we're going to burn the fire. That's the end. It's all working towards. But then also what? As far as for what earlier in the chapter it says what, Pete scoffers are saying like, where's the sign of his coming? You'll have it, because it's just like now. You have people saying like, oh, people say like, oh, they always point out particular days. They say, oh, why hasn't this been fulfilled? You guys have been prophesying for X, Y, Z span of time. Why has it not come to pass? But we're dealing with different time scales. Because when we're dealing with Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, For him, 1,000 years is as a day. So what might seem like, how many times in that time span, is a guy going to come back, live, die, and then come back in the cycle again multiple times? But then, the most times it's like a day, man. But he said, boy, he's long suffering to us. Willing that none should perish. But what's the reality of how it's going to go down? Reality is just 2/3 are basically going to be done away with, man. When we're dealing with Israel. Amongst them, 2/3 are going to get washed away. But by fire this time, not by war. It says, verse 10, the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works therein shall be burned up. Yes, the day is going to come as a thief. Because why? It's people now in the modern time, they're basically thinking like, yo, these guys are talking waffle. These guys have been out here prophesying for how long, man? And nothing's come to pass. Then again, it's also a matter of being able to recognize the signs. Because what does it say? 1 Thessalonians 5, I'll start from 1, it says, but of the times and seasons, brethren, I'll start from verse 4. So 1 Thessalonians 5 and 4, but ye brethren are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. You are all the children of light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as with others, but let us watch and be sober. Yeah, others, these other people in this world, they're what? They're asleep, man. They're out here not really paying mind to what's happening. The things that they'll give weight to is their next form of enticement or entertainment. They're going to be engaging. They're not watching. They'll they might watch and see like, damn, that's looking like it's kind of wild, man. Unless it's like within the immediate area, like the people now in Poland, they're going to be paying extra mind to what's going on between Russia and Ukraine, because they know if it spills over, these guys are getting hit. It was just like the first time the troop build-up started with on Russia's border with Ukraine. There was people saying like, yo, y'all need to get the fuck out of Ukraine. There was a bunch of people that zipped out. They got out of there quick. They zipped out. They got out of there quick. But then those who weren't paying mind, they might have just got caught in the first shelling. This is what ye are all Therefore, let us not sleep as others, but let us watch and sober. For they that sleep in the night, they that be drunken are drunken in the night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for an helmet, the hope of salvation. Yeah. There's a majority. What? They're basically drunken, man. They're not drunken state. They're basically asleep. They're like either in revels or maybe no. They're trying to disengage from the realities of what could be going down. You have a few where the spirit's on them to be aware. They'll kind of look into these things and they will have a sense of urgency. And that sense of urgency is key. Because a big thing of what they do in the church is what they'll say, oh, these prophecies that are coming, but it's going to, that's we're looking at, that could be 20 years, that could be 50 years, like there's no guarantee it can happen in our lifetime. But then,
You know, what you basing that on, man?
Yeah, I will be. Yeah, for today, no, but yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Are you going back to Las Palmas? Next year. No, it's okay. Yeah.
So Amos 6. Start from 1. Woe to them that are at ease in Zion, and trust in the mountain of Samaria, which are named chief of the nations, to whom the house of Israel came. Pass ye unto Calne and see, and from thence go ye to Hamath the great, then go down to Gath of the Philistines. Be they better than these kingdoms, or their border greater than your border. He that puts far away the evil day, and calls the seat of violence to come near. That lie upon beds of ivory, stretch themselves upon their couches, and eat the lambs out of the flock, the cows out of the midst of the stall. Yeah, you've got that mindset has been around for the longest. Those that basically put far away the evil day. They're trying to avoid any form of recompense for their actions. And that's something that happens with those in power all the time. That's something Nebuchadnezzar, why he got zapped, was because he got so complacent. He so inflated his own ego. He wasn't even though it was all through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, how he even came to understand the dream and his significance in it, all he took from it was he was thinking like, damn, I'm that head of gold. Man started thinking it was untouchable. That's why he had to be humble. And that's really
mentioned prayer and gold, right? Yeah, that's how vain he became. And it said once God, worship when they had the dulcimer, stuff for him, and the trumpet. Basically said, yeah, you know, bow down before him. And then you misunderstood what was being said. Yeah, you'll be the guy for forever. And that don't mean that you should make people worship you. They worship you in regard to you have power over them. But you guys are messed up. So it's like, everyone's going to feel together something to go say. So when worship, it's like,
yeah, that whole mindset. That whole mindset of basically putting far away the day, that endures now. Why? As far as those in the seat of power, they're not looking to think about themselves going down. And everyone that's within the realm, they're having a good time. They're not thinking about everything crumbling. But hey, that's the reality. You gotta basically be watching for what's gonna go down. Because you also, got to make preparation in advance, man. You got to basically know, like, yo, what if this happens? Because if you get caught slipping, then there's that term being a deer in headlights. The whole situation might overburden you, and then you're basically just going to
through. It's going to be done. And that's what, hey, the coming judgment, how it's going to hit. As it says in many places, will come as a thief. It comes as a thief. Because why? There's people that don't expect, man. Good example, the modern age is Kim, man. Kim K. She was up in Paris, and then she was like, yo,
That really happened.
yeah. And she said she was like, oh, paralyzed in fear. And she couldn't believe that someone would do that, blah, blah. But that's why, because you're basically so far removed, you didn't think those things could be a reality, man. Or like certain rappers, when they go, like, I remember 50% going to Africa and man, nabbing the gold, man. They're just like, yo, what the hell are you doing here? And that's how this, or even take any guy who, you know, he gets out of the hood, you know, he's got a nice car, he's got a nice car, you know, he's thinking too good, he's like, I'm gonna go and get back. Go there, it's like they'll be going into a den of vipers, man. Going into a thingy of scorpions, a bucket of scorpions, man. These guys are looking to do you harm. And that's the thing, that's the times we're going into, where everyone's going to be out for themselves. Good. That's why with the bird films, that basically is like, once you, what basically stops a lot of people doing the shit they imagine doing now is because there's going to be a consequence. As soon as you remove that consequence, then people start behaving in a far different manner. Matthew 24. 9 says, then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And yeah, that's been noticeable already. Because of iniquity, the love of, I was looking up, I remember seeing a video online years ago of there was a kid in China that run over some guy, who runs over some 2-year-olds, and like he looks down, he realizes he's done it, then he pulls the second set of tires over the youth and then just drives off. The law. The law where basically if you made someone who wants to pay their family, because that's the thing they kill they change it because that's how people got like doing the madness. There was, I mean, before they said there was someone that helped someone and it was forced to play their medical bills, which is fucking insane. When you think about it, like what the fuck's going on? It's like The Incredibles, the beginning where the guy tries to kill himself. Then like Mr. Incredible jumps and saves him. Then afterwards it was like the whole reason they had to hire all the superheroes was because I got sued because he wanted to die. Remember his time? Yeah. No, he broke his collarbone or something. Then he said like, oh, you sued him for like saving him. Because it's like he's trying to kill himself and now he has to live. But hey, that's how wild shit's got. The way, you know, you do what people would say is a good deed, then you can end up fucked over. Yeah, so now we're in a state where the love of many is already wax cold now. How much more so as prices, you know, the prices increases. We're in what the cost of living crisis, where it's already at a point where a lot of people are like, oh, they can barely like cover rent, food, travel, etc. But then what about when it gets even worse? Then what about when there's you know, physical danger involved, man?
Kind of reminds me of scripture, Jeremiah 15, about go prepare. It basically speaks to Heavenly Father, different judgments, different people. Great example of that is during the time of Exodus. You know, when we talk, you know, Exodus dealing with what's his guy's name? Moses and Pharaoh, where he basically said, no, I'm going to bring forth plagues, and those plagues, when you see some of the judgments of those plagues, the man been cattle died in one occasion and the cattle died in another occasion. It just shows you that the judgment was allotted to a certain individual, a certain cattle at a certain point. It's just like with the pandemic, we had a wave where a lot of people swept away down, whether it be being locked up in the house, being mental health being directly addressed, or it may have been actually outright dying. Or you might have died, you know, because of the whole but then now we got a new one, cost of living crisis, another plane that's been sent. Alright? In a sense, you know, that you know, the Lord speaks about it in Matthew 24 about giving us sorrow, all this is giving us sorrow. And then violating that book, my imagination. You know, you're getting bit.
They know exactly what I need.
Yeah, but sorry, you said I was going to bring you out. That's all. One in West. This is the book of 2nd Ezra 15 and 14. Woe to the world, them that dwell therein. For the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the cause of their actions shall stand in their power. You want to go into that? You read Matthew? No, read it again. No, it sounds the same. I'll read it again. You might have read it before I was there. 2nd Ezra 15:15. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power.
Yes, it's going to come down to basically, yeah, everyone's basically going to be out for their own. But the thing is anyways, with society in general, people have been atomized to where the most that their like affection extends to would be immediate family. There's a lot of people where it's like, if it's a cousin, auntie, and uncle, they might not send the same kind of coverage they would normally to just like the brother, sister, mother, father kind of thing. And that's something that's happened over time where, you know, what the family is has become smaller and smaller. Then there's those where they're not even thinking about covering their own family, man. You watch some of these like JSC psychology and these interviews that what are they called? These interviews of these I think it's prison psychology. What do you call them? Interrogators, police interrogations. A lot of these guys, like, there's some fucking batshit lunatics out there, man, or something like that, in a car, because she was drunk driving. Then she was still drunk when they pulled her in, and then she was just like, they're like, no, you realize you killed a family today? She's like, yeah. Oh, so okay, so when am I gonna go home? Yeah. Like, she was fucking out, man.
Maybe shot.
Maybe she got on hinge, who knows? There was one type of guy where it's like, they schemed on and killed someone, and they were thinking that chopped them up, put them in a garbage bag, and they're getting away with it. And then it's like, they're just trying to be like, yeah, so this is so strict. The way they behave is fucking abnormal, man. Because these guys are whacked out of their minds, man. They're, you know, they're basically done acts that are just completely out there. And that's something that's, hey, maybe it's just awareness of it, but it feels like, hey, it's getting wild. But then how much more so when further troubles come? Somewhere like, in a situation like, what you call it, like a fucking war zone, shit gets raw as fuck, man. And it's really gonna be when there's no power structure to fight, when there's no police, when there's no military able to instantly deal with something, then hey, what people will do a madness. That's already known.
I'll read on verse 17. Man shall desire. Man shall desire to go into the sea and not be able. For because of their pride, the seas shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, the men shall be taken.
There's going to be a time of martial law, whereby, you know, they're going to form
a line, basically saying you can't pass this line. It's a curfew. You out past this time, this is going to be the ramification, right? And that's where, you know, this is where we're heading to. When you can see one of the things going on in society is moving towards more control to the powers that be, right? A handful that being the elites of society, right? I know they're equal, right? They're basically going to be forwarding the teaching on everyone, even on their own people, their own other Edomites, right? And why? Because they're just designed, they're inherently evil, all right? So it says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with a sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So that's openly saying this cost of living crisis, possibly this, I'll say it like that, possibly this cost of living crisis is the onset of something to a greater, and I believe it is, to greater, you know, sad events happening upon us, right? To the point of the hour of temptation, because it's going to present them. They work upon the basis of the Galilean dialect. Right? I hope I'm saying it right. My mind is slow today. Right? Whereby they basically work by a free pointed strategy of what? Reaction solutions. So they present a problem to everyone that in initiates a reaction from everyone, and they swoop in with the solution. And not only that solution, they benefit from it. The best way to kind of, summarize it would be by the saying "Who bono," the Latin saying "Who bono," which basically is who benefits. Right? That's what it means, and they're ultimately going to benefit because that's why they also another saying they have is what. What's the one about crisis? Don't waste the crisis. Alright? So when there's a problem and there's a reaction, that's only a crisis whereby they can do what? They can garner a lot more power, a lot more wealth onto themselves. You see how many millions people made with Novin? There was a truckload of money to be made. Even a common man could make money if they had the right connects and the right links. Alright?
Even without that.
Yeah.
Regardless, like all the I went in papers Joe, Angel, like crates of Angel, and then it was like, oh yeah, I was thinking like selling for the rest of my life, but then it got such bad, it got covered by the news, and it got so bad, you basically gave me. But it's funny because a lot of people would have bought that. They would have, if they didn't sell it, if they bought so much and didn't sell it at the time, they would have been fucked. They would have been like over the track. After a period of time, people weren't even fucking with it.
Yeah, it's just, well, I was gonna say, well, from my knowledge, because I've never done it, but it's something I've picked up on more or less later on. It's like a lot of fraud, like even with over here, like the whole chip and pin, all that. Those are like reactions to a problem. Like people, because I know in America they don't have chip and pin like that for a long time. So I think when we went out there, they didn't have chip and pin. It was kind of fucking crazy. And I remember there was a time, obviously, they wanted to chip and pin over here. But the reason why they brought it about is due to fraud. And what I know is like, through more recent years, probably like 2015, when someone I used to work with told me, him and his friend made about 100K between them. He said when he was like 15 years old, he had like 15 bags. And at the time I called him, 19. He said between him and his best friend, they got like 100 grand for both of them. And he said basically what they used to do was Amazon. And I remember I heard about it. There was a time where you get Amazon package, you probably heard of it before. You get Amazon package, they got ripped us down. So basically, man would order like a new laptop, like MacBook, order it, say it didn't arrive, then they would send out another one, then it didn't arrive, and then what they'll do is they sell it, then they'll cancel the order and get their money back. So they got their money back, and then what they do, they didn't spend the money, and they just got two laptops for free.
I did that.
So what would they do? Sell the two laptops, and they get the money, then do it all over again. But then what happened was that obviously Amazon picked up in a certain way, so losing hella money, and then that's when they put an end to that whole scheme basically. So
Because you know it was
street, those anyone that kind of has an inkling or kind of aware, those stuff on the road.
Do you guys know if the
No idea.
You have no idea.
No idea. Everyone asks us every week, and I don't want to learn because I don't want to be directed.
No, you know your role. You know your role.
Yeah, that's
Respect
it.
Stay in it. Yeah.
That's it. So like whatever, like we're kind of running for the moment, you do it, and then you like for a time it's AC. I think we used to do it. There was the golden era. Yeah, but it's always golden era because there's someone that's never heard of it before. So like there's a generation of people in school, people in college, never heard of AC. But AC was around 95. But you just didn't know because you don't bring it to it. So it's something that's, it's always there for a cycle and it allows you to, make money. So these things, they work in the moment, then they work. I'm forgetting my original stuff. Oh, the pandemic. Yeah, so your people made money from it. That's it. Alright? But I'll read this again, 2 Ezra 15 and 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and shall spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Alright, so that hopefully is gonna be, you know, a good sign, a surefire sign right now to cost of living crisis and everything that's up in the air right now with crypto leading into CBDC. All of these things are forming and bringing the air as to where all of these all issues are going to culminate to one time where it's going to drop upon everyone's head and they're going to have that option of the great tribulation, the time of Jacob's trouble, where it's to chip or look to chip. That's going to be the question you're going to ask yourself. Do I get with a program and get to eat their little lab-grown meat? I know this plant-based food. Or do I just go on a run, soil and green, or do I go on a run and hope for the best and deal with the wild barbarians out there in the wild bush? I'm thinking of the nonsense. I'm a wild barbarian. But what do you choose? All right. Ultimately, that choice has to be made. All right. Everyone's gonna have to decide, and that's ultimately what they're heading to. Right? That's why you're seeing these things. You know, some people are feeling it a lot more than others. Right? If you're on a minimum wage, national minimum wage, damn right you're gonna be feeling it. Even if you're a little pound above it, 2 pounds above it, you're gonna be feeling it. Now if you're like, you know, you and your missus or your whole family, you and your missus are good money, then you ain't gonna be feeling as much. If you're on good money and you're a bachelor, definitely it's really going to be feeling because you're just taking care of yourself. Alright? But everyone's feeling the brunt of the thing, feeling the sting of it. What's that?
Isaiah 24:2, and it shall be as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the lender, as with so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. The land shall be utterly empty and utterly spoiled, for the Lord Yahweh has spoken his word. Yes, basically in effect, it's the same as in Revelation 13. Rich and poor, free and bond. It's something that's going to impact whether you're so-called well-to-do or whether you're barely scraping by, or whether you a homeless bum, man. It's basically going to impact you harshly. Because that's the level of judgment we're coming into. There's always been those historically where it gets on top. And then, good example, we like World War II, man. Them guys in Japan were fucking mullered, man. There was a period of time they were doing well, man. Somehow the kind of tiny island of Japan, these guys were controlling China, which don't even make no sense when you think about it. But that's what how it was going down. Up until they got dumpy, it was it was good times. When them nukes dropped, it was a wash, man. But hey, that's how it's gonna be. there was that period of time where it seemed like everything was good, man. Everything was blessed up. Everything was going well. Then what happened? The reality hit. The harshness came, man. And it's going to be that again. To where it's going to impact whatever scale, part of the scale you're at. You might think you're exempt, man. A lot of these guys, you'll have like celebrities, even have a substantial amount of money. They might think that eliminates them from certain things. But unless you're amongst a certain rank, you're going to be thrown in there with the rest, man.
Hey, just like Jamie Foxx right now. That guy's called breaking. You ain't seen that Jamie Foxx, man. He ain't shut his ass for no one since that happened. But that's the way he's challenging the law. Next step is funny, right? But guess what? The Lord fucked him up, man. Hey, there's so many others. But they put her in good standing with powers that be, and they find out that they're not in good standing. Right? There's something to, all of the ridicule that the rest of us are. Let me go more. Oh, yeah.
The earth mourneth, verse 4. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people, earth do languish. Yeah, those were around 14 years old trying to yeah, I was like, you probably maybe even college,
like year 10, year 11, year 11. Majority like year 10, year 11.
really not. What was that? Yeah, the
Funny,
people
said quickly. It's funny because I realized everyone in this kingdom kind of switch up themselves to get older faster, usually crash out later on in life. It's kind of like the late bloomers, the ones that kind of have the advantage.
They haven't got enough experience to kind of realize where they're at and how they should do it. What it said, the haughty people in public language. Yeah, those that indulge in crown, they're in love with this place.
That's not beautiful.
Hey, it's going to be a wash. Because why? As far as for them, they're going to be dealing with things like thinking, like they're on some special level. And that reality is going to come crashing down, man.
BBC. Titan sub-CEO dismissed safety as baseless cries, email shows. So it's dealing with a whole, drama dealing with submarine. What they tried to do is guy missing when it was looking for the Titanic, right?
Est-ce que où Wellington? Right.
So it says warnings over the safety of ocean gate Titan. This like CEO companies. Email chains were the message received by the Roman Catholic Ocean Gate CEO Dr. Rush that he was potentially putting his clients at risk and urged him to stop using the song until it had been certified by an independent agency. This is crazy, so I wouldn't even certify it. Safety. It's the Russian.
One way that shit was trying to sound funky as fuck.
Yeah. Mr. Rush responded that he was tired of industry players who tried to use the safety argument to stop the innovation. The tense exchange ended between Ocean Gate's lawyers,
threatens legal action. Mr. Callan said, I think you are potentially placing yourself and your clients in a dangerous dynamic. He wrote to Ocean Gate Post in March 2018. In your race to Titanic, you are mirroring the famous catch cry. She is unsinkable. That's crazy, man. I just want to read this article where it really shows you the basic same spirit. Yeah. Never maybe the future come back to play out the same thing again. Basically trying to explain, show the people, and give people one advantage, right? And not, in this case, one of the CEOs ended up getting fucked over in the process.
It's pride as well, because that was basically the whole point of the Titanic. Named after what the Titans, man. Like one of the Greek pantheons. Like Kronos and his men, man. You know, it was basically hyped like, yeah, this is the most legendary vessel. But, you know, what happened? It took it out.
I don't think.
And then,
Titanic
Ale jest zamknięte.
Nie, no przez taki statek nas nie przepuszczą, kurwa.
No raczej.
Yeah, I'll read on.
Dzwoniłam do tego radia, nikt nie odbiera.
Mr. Callum told BBC that he repeatedly urged the company to seek certification. No, wait, hold on. In the messages, Mr. Rush, who was among 5 passengers who died when the Titan experienced what officials believe was a catastrophic implosion on Sunday, expresses frustration with the criticism of Titan safety measures. We have heard the basis cries of you are going to kill someone way too often. I take this as a serious personal insult. So you got the message wrong, man. And that's the same thing we're doing. We're making a cry on to, get right. Right? But guess what a lot of people are doing? They're taking it the wrong way and saying that, no, you should be saying that. You should say it in a nicer manner. No, nigga, we should be saying it. And you should be listening to what the fuck they're saying, man. That's what it means, right? But them guys on point, they'll tell them that, look, your shit ain't ready to go out the water. You need to get certified, you need to go through the measures. And really and truly, when you really put it into perspective, it's like, if it's professionals that we can deal with, submarines and submersibles, why wouldn't you want to certified by them? Unless it's really like the money, right? A lot of them are, right? But if you have to have the right technicians in place, the right techs that basically really know the science behind it, right? But the fact that it was built the way it was a bit crazy for the other. I'm surprised people are paying $4 million to jump in that shit. The moment I started, I would look in there and see an Xbox controller, I'd say, nah, I'm alright.
the thing is, the Xbox controller thing, that's how they do it with a lot of controllers. I remember way back, even in college, when they were doing promotions, they were trying to get people to the army. They'll say, no, you can come in and do like this. And then they always use Xbox
So I'm
controllers.
saying, if I would have sat inside that shit, I'd have said $250,000. I look around at
I don't know how the fuck.
and then 5 plus,
charging
and it's like there's no seating. It's like I'm just sat in, like so
You got pissed in the bottom.
like, bro, you ain't getting me. No, with
I don't know. The thing is,
I ain't got no.
I know why it's the overlord of the Titanic. Because that's basically like, it's mythological at this point.
Yeah,
They deified it from before, with the name anyway. And then now it's like, we're so beyond that technology. Now we can go down and look at those guys down. It's that same basically just being essentially thinking you have all the whole world even under the floor, under your control. It's that same pride and the same hubris. Because that's really Esau's MO. He's really out here thinking, I'm going to be able to get, I'm going to be able to understand everything, I'm going to be able to break down everything, I'm going to recreate whatever I want. These are the things that he's basically trying to bring under his heel. And then, him doing that, that's just a microcosm, it's just a small example of that shit, the same shit manifesting. Isaiah 2, so what does it say? So verse 8 says that their land also is full of idols. They worship the work of their own hands, that which their own fingers have made. And the mean man boweth down, and the great man humbleth himself. Therefore forgive them not. Enter into the rock and hide thee in the dust, for the fear of the Lord Jehovah, for the glory of his majesty. The lofty looks of man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down, and the Lord Jehovah alone shall be exalted in that day. Yes, so just with Jacob, they're bigging up the idols. That's the same thing that these heathen have done with doing. Now in the modern day, what's the modern idol is really science, technology, the capabilities of what people can do on themselves. Most people are deifying themselves. Social media, they'll basically go out and do certain things. Everything they're working towards is their own pleasure and satisfaction. Or they're going to be looking at look how great
Right here. Oh, yeah. Is it there or it's a couple rows over? Somewhere right there.
What does it say? The as far as for now, that haughtiness is the cornerstone of this current civilization. It's really built off, you should, worship and glorify yourself. Basically you're building up and doing everything so you can satisfy yourself. And if not that, then it's people looking to the society, they're deifying that. Thinking like, it's so great, we're X, Y, Z, we're going into space, we're flying, we're shooting missiles, we've got fast cars. they're all caught up in mystique. But then, what's the reality? Despite all that, as far as even Esau knows he's destroying the planet, man. A lot of what these guys do, they'll do it for money, profit sake, the capitalistic approach. But then they'll know they're destroying either themselves or the people that they're making merchandise of. They'll know they're inviting confusion into the world, man. Because with what you call it, it's like most of these big companies, you'll find a lot of these scandals will come out. You'll find out someone knew this and then just brush it under the rug. It's like a lot of the different the oils, cooking oils and whatnot. The various processed food, these things as well. And then asbestos. You had lead, where it's like a lot of these things were, man, there was what lead in fuel into the 90s, man. You still get lead into the 90s. man, like lead paints and whatnot, asbestos, all these various things where it's like, it's actually deadly, but because I thought it was cheap, well, they would have been like, ah man, we'll just, we'll overlook that. That's like the cornerstone of what Esau does.
So it says, Mr. McCallum told the BBC that he reportedly urged the company to seek certification for the Titan before using it for commercial tours. The vessel was never certified and classed. Until a subclass tested and proven it should not be used for commercial deep dive operations, he wrote in one email. I implore you to take every care in your testing and sea trials. Very, very subject. As much as I appreciate entrepreneurship and innovation, you are potentially putting an entire industry at risk. In response, a few days later, Mr. Rutt defended his business and his credentials. He said OceanGate's engineering-focused, innovative approach flies in the face of submersible orthodoxy. But that is the nature of innovation. So yeah, but it's just the point that this man was a proud man, right? So the company was proud man as well. It's the thing with dust.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, it's Revelation 13:4. And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power to the beast. And they worshipped the beast. Saying, who is like the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And it was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemy. Power was given unto him to continue 40 and 2 months.
Now, dealing with the powers that be, they're very proud, they tout, great things. That's now proliferating among people. Right? That's sign that trickles down to the people because it tells you that this is what 10th chapter, as the king told the subject. Right? So everyone's basically taking on that ideology. Especially within I believe the company is an American company. They have a maverick kind of mindset whereby, we're going to do this in the spirit of entrepreneurship. We're going to do this in the spirit of what that means. We have an idea, we're going to innovate, we're going to push it to the people, and then we're going to be successful. But a lot of that is based around what? This pride, right? A high level of self-esteem that is, beyond existence. It don't even make sense. Habakkuk 2:4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in it, but the just shall live by his faith. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth a home, who enlargeth his desire as hell and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. That's enlargeth his desire as hell and is as death. That pride is the cornerstone of Esau's identity. That's a big factor into how they conduct themselves, man. These guys basically going out, coming to the island, to the Americas, and then putting the tribes on smack. Then coming here, setting himself up, and especially as well is whilst you lay these hands on the chosen, and he's basically established himself. He's come against and broken every law in the scriptures and established his own law, and he's not been judged. So how much more so is he, gonna basically pride's gonna be building? Because it's like now, it's people like, they'll never set foot in various situations or environments, but then they'll basically, off the back of, watching a documentary or something, they might not even be an expert in the field, they're like, oh, there's no way that can be possible. They're going to have a mindset when they think they've conquered everything, man. They think they have a full understanding of what's going down. And it's funny because it's just as like when you go into the heavens, into space, it's the same with going into the depths of the ocean. Beyond a certain point, that shit's all mysteries, man. I remember watching, was it Blue Planet? Where I think it was the last episode of the first season. They deal with sperm whales. Big fucking whales. Where they said like, yeah, we still don't know where these guys breed. We don't know how they have their kids. We just know they're here, they disappear, then they come back and there's abuse with them. I'm like, bro, what the fuck, man? These guys are dealing like like everything's, all the mysteries of the world have been solved. But they still don't have the fullness of it. But that's the point, again, prayer. Versus what, but gathereth unto it all nations and heapeth unto all people. So verse 6 says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that layeth himself with thick clay. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them? Yeah, you have to think, all these actions you take, they cause a reaction. And with the history of Esau, it's in what? A lot of plundering, a lot of taking, a lot of basically exerting his power over various nations, man. There's various places in the world where they have a bone to pick with Western nations. Because they can go back into their own history and be like, oh yeah,
That's water on that.
we were getting put on smack from these guys until X, yeah. When you deal with these, no, Ghana and Nigeria, they always have the independence celebrations. They'll be like, oh, the 50th independence celebration or the 60th. These are all recent. These are all within living memory. Because why? It's until very recently the Esau switched it up. So there's a good reason for people to have a bone to pick. But then again, he's basically changed the whole rule set of how you engage. So that he can then be like, oh, no, we're just, look guys, it's just, we're all equal now, we're all as one. Didn't you hear what Martin Luther King said? What's little black boys, white boys running around, holding hands or whatever, man. That's meant to solve the issue. But then there's still a check that needs to be paid, man. There's still a tab. It's outstanding. Because why? We're dealing with the fact that, hey, people will get fucked over for a long time. And that's still impacting them to this day, and vice versa. People got ahead. And they're still ahead to this day.
When Ed was asked, basically said,
fucking do a thing, didn't even bother.
much is revealed on
I was just like, wow.
I basically don't worry about it. Space and stuff like that. Like, man, don't worry about your Earth. something like that. I can't remember it. But basically worry about what's in front of you. You don't know.
That's what
I know. What did you just read before? Or was it a reset? Oh, Amos 6, Amos 9.
Amos 9 and 2. Though they dig into hell, then shall mine hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. And though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, I will search and make and take them out thence. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite.
But they're going to actually, you know, I'm saying this in jest. They're going to actually hide from the Heavenly Father. The Lord, Heavenly Father was just, you know, I can't. You know what he's going to do? He's going to send Leviathan. Now, we understand that when you deal with the Titanic, you know, he said that, hey, Leviathan, right? Now, that same place, is, you know, those Titanic words, the Titan's words that was spoken, you know, the Lord sent a real Titan to basically deal with it. And now you had to, they say, oh, they told you, they found parts. Saying one Leviathan went down there and basically, you know, fucked them up. And really, this prophet says, I don't know why he didn't do the video. Well, I know why he didn't. But, oh, he did one. I didn't know he was going to do one. Oh, yeah, but I'm saying this, when it was the time to shoot, it's time to do it. Because the simple thing said, you know, when you said it, you could have done one. Spirit. I can't get on this. I go video the same way I rag on the spirit. I listen to moments. But anyway, the Bible being a minute. People start proud, you know, those words.
got me to get that scripture. But, yeah, like you said, he says they hide in the depths of the sea. That sea is a deep place, you know, there's things going on over there. And even it serves as you know, a sign of things to come, right? That the Leviathan basically were busy, you know. Or sorry, they went under there, you know, rich and so, you know, they're under there, some little couple of things. Man, that was a joke of a vessel. But so they're happy to school. They can do things now.
Second Esdras 14. So verse 7 says, and now I say unto thee, that thou lay up in thy heart the signs I have showed, and the dreams that thou hast seen, and the interpretations which thou hast heard. But thou shalt be taken away from all, and from henceforth thou shalt remain with my son, and with such as be like thee until the times be ended. For the world hath lost its youth, and the times begin to wax old. For the world is divided into 12 parts, and the 10 parts of it are gone already, and half of the 10 parts. And there remaineth that which is after the half of the 10 parts. Now therefore set thine house in order, and reprove thy people, comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. Let go from thee mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off now the weak nature, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from those times. For yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter. For look how much the world shall be weaker through age, so much the more shall evils increase upon them that dwell therein. For the time is fled far away, and leasing is hard at hand. But now hastens the vision to come, which thou hast seen. Yeah. When the time when everything is getting ready to pass, man. That's why it's something
I would say thousands of years ago. Really? What's the more now? Yeah.
We're done. Second Esdras 4:1. And the angel that was sent unto me, his name was Uriel, gave me an answer and said, thy heart hath gone too far in this world. Think us down to comprehend the way of the Most High. Then said I, yea, and it was designed that, look, that someone that was a prophet there, father, a leader over the nation, and he was inquiring of the Most High through the angel Uriel, or Raya Allah, right, of things that pertain to, you know, our kingdom, the things to come. And the angel was putting them in place and said, bro, you can't think like the Most High thinks. Alright? And I really, you know, these elites out of the Bible, they should read this. This is very plain and very easy to see, to understand that the Heavenly Father's ways are not their ways. Alright? He thinks way outside of the box. Verse 3. Then said I, yea, my Lord. And he answered me and said, I am sent to show thee 3 ways and set forth 3 similitudes before thee. Whereof, if thou canst declare me one, I will shew thee also the way that thou desirest to see. Desirous to see. And I shall show thee from whence the wicked heart cometh. And I said, tell me on, tell on, my Lord. Then said he unto me, go thy way, weigh me the weight of the flame of the fire, or measure me the blast of the wind, or prove me again the day that is past. And all these things be so confused is one day. Alright?
Oh yeah, there's some that have
Shape of form.
It
Right?
is.
You can weigh the weight of a fire, right? They'll give you degrees, how many degrees. But you can also the measurement blast of the wind. There's a gale force. Right? How fast the wind is going. Right? And it also says secure me again the day that is past. Now you have recording systems. Right, whereby they can record stuff. You can now the technology's got so good that they got you know the golden era, the birth of motion picture. You can go back to the 1890s or whenever it was and show moving images and apply color to it. At this point, that's where it's got to now. Technicolor. No, I don't know, it may be, but I'm just saying that. I've had Technicolor for a long time. But I'm just saying it. For what I'm saying, now. Yeah, I'm saying if you take both images and both videos, now they're applying color. I'm saying these are old, like they never had color before. Now they're like, it may be Technicolor, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying Technicolor is just how you look like. Yeah. That's how you used to, because people was black and white at the time. Yeah, but I'm just saying these are images that were never, like, further back than more recent. These like the first images, you know, where the spirits of people look different. You know, like how people looking at a camera and you're like, fuck me, that energy, 1831 is different, right? 1790. You know, they look like some real, you know, like, if looks could kill. That's the type of energy they have. But the point being is that those things can now be done. Right? Showing you what kind of power Esau now bestowed and the miracle is not having. Right? Verse 6. Then answered I and said, what man is able to do that thou shouldest ask such things of him? And he said unto me, if I should ask thee how great dwellings are in the midst of the sea, or how many springs are in the beginning of the deep, or how many springs are above the firmament, or which the outgoings of which are the outgoings of paradise, which are of evil or the same. That sounds like Jacob's ladder, man. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like even the water that was stirred in you know, in the water. Maybe the angel come down and stir the water. First person that went in there got healed up there. Like those are like them portals. So the angels, let me read that again, it's kind of crazy. Verse 7. And he said unto me, if I should ask thee how great dwellings are in the midst of the sea, so there's great dwellings, there's places you can dwell within the sea. That might be, you know, where you're dealing with the whales where they go down there and they chill, they have their babies. They probably watch TV down there, man. And Aquaman chilling down there talking to them. And what's his name? Namor. Namor was up in there. Yeah. They chilling, yeah, what's up, man? Down there, the Leviathan's king over it all. That all the Leviathan have come and fuck everything up. Only time Leviathan's cool is whipping out a breath and get something to a baby. Yeah, baby Leviathan. And the God there is fuck up Namor. Nah, more. How they do. But anyway, it says, how many springs are in the beginning of the deep? So there's actual springs underneath the water. Or how many springs are above the firmament? So as well, when we do with space, that's why the Hebrew word for water is Mayim. Alright? But then when you deal with the Hebrew word for heaven, it's Shemayim, which pertains to water. So they're both different forms of water. The water's down here, it's there in the background, but it's also in heaven. That's why you can't just fly up in there and then all, you know, breathe. That's why they need oxygen mask. It's a form of water. The container is similar to water. It pertains to it. Alright? So it says, well, how many springs are above the firmament? So there's actual springs up there in heaven. Or which are the outgoings of paradise. Alright? Which I'm sure is saying, you know, there's some, you know, some portals. If you want to come down there, you basically jump through that pool and you can arrive down there. Like Jacob's ladder. or you can wind up over here, wind up over there. It's just depending on how many you know them, right? And this is something Esau might be privy to on the left-hand side, right? Where he knows, okay, we've got this enchanter that makes him present himself in his place. That's why they have ley lines, right? When you have stone and things like that, right? That's why even like the city of London, the city of the Vatican City, right? Washington DC, District of Columbia, all these different places are there because they present great spiritual rumblings in those places. 8, verse 8, peradventure you would have say unto me, I never went down into the deep, nor as yet into hell, neither did I ever climb up into heaven. Nevertheless, now have I asked thee, but only of the fire and wind, and of the day wherethrough thou hast passed, and of things from which thou canst not be separated. Let me read it again. I'm not getting the text. It says, nevertheless, have I asked thee, but only of fire and wind, and of the day wherethrough thou hast passed, and of things from which thou canst not be separated. That's deep. So basically he said, look, I'm asking questions about things. You, no matter what you want to do, you can't separate yourself from this way. The only way someone can separate themselves from mind, spiritual bodies if they kill themselves. So you can't say, yeah, I'm going to dip out, I'm going to remove my consciousness from my body and go into, another, I'm going to be like Vision, not Vision, what's the name? Marvel, the bad version of Vision. That was predecessor. Ultron. Yeah, I'm gonna do like Ultron. I'm gonna be a mainframe. Then I'm gonna set up a body, and I'm gonna go from body to body. You can't do that. Right? You're born into a body. You have to live your whole life in that body. Right? Everyone knows that. That's why people ain't willingly just cutting off their limbs or cutting off their digits or their head because they know I'll take my head off. I ain't got no life no more. You understand it? They're well aware of that. All right. So let me read again, verse 9. Nevertheless, now have I asked thee, but only of the fire and wind, and of the day wherethrough thou hast passed, and of things from which thou canst not be separated, and yet canst thou not. Yes, canst thou give me no answer of them. You say, look, this is your bread and butter. You live in the midst of it. You should know this better than me. Right? Remember it says in the book of Peter that the angels, one day mentioned of Peter, that the things the angels look into and they wish they could do, basically. They would like to come down here and experience, the human experience, life in the flesh, as the brother said. But they can't. But guess what? The beauty they have is that they actually know a lot more about our experiences than we do. Right? As Uriel said it, he's breaking it down.
Well, it's funny because even with the the breakdowns for the prophecies, it's like with David, where it was like breaking down, and to explain this, like these are kings that are gonna come. We've saw in his bed,
Daniel,
man.
you said David, but you meant
I said that,
Daniel.
I meant that.
Yeah.
It's like we saw in his bed, man. He's passed out, man.
Over and over again, a couple times. I was shy had to come open, man.
Like, bro, that's like.
Don't in the slouches, man.
You see missiles and nukes flying around. You see planes.
I'm like got into a day. Yeah, the thing, it's like, you mean I'm gonna smoke this and I can't, I'm gonna die? No, you gonna smoke this and you carrying shit for the rest of the day. Nigga, I got shit to do. Like, that's how Daniel is. Daniel was getting a vision, getting wiped out, and he's ordained the leader within Babylon. Media Persia sometimes. High level. But he's there, frothing at the mouth in his bedchamber, from the visions that were revealed to him. He was just cool out of whack. Then he come to it, he pulled to his bed, He sent for his servant, said, bring me, bring him some pulse, bring him some water, some mineral water, wherever it may have been. And then the angel would come and nurse him back to full health. Then he'll get another one, then go through the same motion all over again. Man. But that being shown that, look, man, the things that are being revealed to us are mighty great things. Verse 10, he said, moreover unto me, thine own things and such as are grown up with thee, canst thou not know. How should thy then be able to comprehend the way of the highest, and the world being now outwardly corrupted, to understand the corruption that's evident in my sight? So the angels, again, you're real breaking, saying, look, how am I going to tell you these things that are happening, that they're going to go way over your head? You can't pull tomorrow to record. So you have no control over the domain that you're restricted to, all right, that you can't separate yourself from. So how am I going to show you stuff that I can do all those things? I can measure a flame. I know the circuits. I know to jump into a fire and then go back up to the heavenly Father, the angel that presented himself to Manoah. Alright? They know how to do those things. Jacob's ladder. But how am I going to show you those things but you don't understand things that to you? Alright? Say that again? Oh, Lady Legend. Jump. Yes, that's the point. So the point being that, look, Esau has some of this and some don't, to some extent, but only all things are given unto us. Right? We serve the God of knowledge, as it tells you in the book of 2 Samuel, 1 Samuel 2 and 3. Right? The Most High is the God of knowledge. Alright? And he found out all the ways of knowledge, and he gave it to his servant Jacob. Right? So we, in that covenant that pertains to us, right, with the 613 laws, right, but also the Holy Bible in its entirety, basically gives us what? Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding beyond anyone that can comprehend, all right, but at the same time, we want to hold it up. So basically, yeah, so that's what allows us to become what? Humor of all things, man. But ultimately, we can go on the base level. We're still under the first covenant. We're under the first covenant by means of grace, right? But once we get in the second covenant, all the things that Uriel was speaking of, we're going to have that, all right? All those things that angels do, we're going to have that, but we're also going to have the humanoid experience, right? The terrestrial experience, but on an extra level. So we can actually, all those things you mentioned, we can circumvent, not circumvent. We can maneuver from, the terrestrial plane into the celestial plane. Right? That's what pertains to us in the second covenant. So I'll start from 1 Corinthians 15:45. So it is written, the first man Adam was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening spirit. Howbeit, that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural, and afterward that which is spiritual. first man is of the earth, earthy. The second man is the Lord from heaven, right? The Son of the Most High. And is the earthy such as they also that are earthy, and as is also as is the heavenly, such are they also that are heavenly. And as we have borne the image of the earthly,
Red light, the guy just pulled it out. Like, as like these men were starting, I was like, bro, this guy, people are maniacs on that fucking. I'm like, bro,
Peraí, eu tô perto do barco, não tô errado.
what the hell? Like, how you gonna confidence?
Verse 49. And as we have borne the image of the earthly, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of the Most High, neither doth corruption inherit incorruption. Behold, I shew you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruption must put on incorruption, and its mortal must put on immortality. So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and its mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law. But thanks be to the Most High, which giveth us victory through our Lord Yahweh Shai Mashiach. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as you know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. That's it. Ultimately, everything that we're doing right now is to inherit something that is extraterrestrial, above and beyond everything we have in this kingdom. Alright? So with that, we close out. Saying all praises to Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Orapah Kadash. Shalom. Shalom.